everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. So if you haven't already guessed by the title, we are doing a pretty much a full face of duped makeup. Now, some of these are ones that people don't even talk about. They're ones that aren't discussed. These are ones that I have discovered through my makeup collection. So let's get into this video. If you guys like unfiltered makeup opinions and honest reviews, subscribe to my channel. Let's talk about these dupes. So some of these are ones that I have been talking about through like my speed reviews, and I will link that video for you. But a lot of these are ones that nobody is talking about, and they are really good makeup dupes. Pretty much I have put on a serum, and I used the Hello Good Stuff serum. That one is from Essence, and this is a dupe for the Glow Recipe Niacinamide Dewdrops. I don't have that one anymore. I ran out and I started using this one. So dupe number one, the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer from Essence Cosmetics. It's like a $6 primer. It is gorgeous. That one I use as a serum. These are what I'm using on my face today for primer. The high-end version, which is going to be my left side because it's bougie like my ring. This is the Benefit Porefessional primer, and on my drugstore side, we're going to be using the Makeup Revolution Pore Blurring Primer. Do a little side-by-side for you. So here we have the Pore Blurring Primer from Makeup Revolution, and now we're going to put next to it the Benefit Cosmetics. So right here we have Makeup Revolution, and then we have the Benefit Cosmetics Pore Porefessional Primer. This is the Pore Blurring Primer. If you guys can't already see, the consistency is very, very similar. So on my right side, we're gonna do the Pore Blur from Makeup Revolution. My nose is just going to be kind of like a mosh of product because that's what happens. So the Pore Blurring Primer is a silicone primer. It's supposed to blur and fill in your fine lines and wrinkles and pores. And then the same thing with the Porefessional Primer. It's supposed to blur, fill in your fine lines and wrinkles, and both are supposed to elongate your makeup. So we have the drugstore side, we have the high-end side. So we have the Porefessional on this side, the Makeup Revolution on this side. Can you see a difference? Because I know that I cannot. Primer. For foundation, I'm just going to be using the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. I don't have a dupe for this one. I've heard it's really, really similar to the It Cosmetics CC Cream. I don't have that one. This is just one that I want to pan because I literally have barely anything left. So we're going to use this with, we're just going to use this today with a brush. We're going to apply it all over the face with a brush. I found that it applies a lot better with a brush than what it does with a sponge. Like the coverage is a lot better. So this foundation, it just conceals, it corrects, it gives a great like neutral canvas for my face because we have a lot of dupes that we're talking about today. Right, for concealer, we're going to be using on the high-end bougie side the Tarte Double Duty Shape Tape Ultra Creamy Concealer. This is in the shade 16N Fair Light Neutral. I'm just using this to conceal some blemishes. I think the middle of my face is literally just going to be like, you know, a mosh of things. And then for the dupe end side, we have the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is in the shade Fair Rose. Both are a cool toned. I'm just going to conceal some blemishes, put some on, and then middle of my face is just going to be a mosh. Now you can tell already that the Tarte is a little bit darker than the e.l.f., which is, that's fine. I mean, that's gonna happen. It didn't surprise me there. but the consistency is very, 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 very similar. And we're gonna take a look at the coverage as well. So we're gonna use this. I have just as a NYX brush. I'm going to completely tap out the concealer on this side so you can see the coverage. So the e.l.f. one is definitely brightening a little bit more than the Tarte one. And I think that's just because the shades are a little bit different. So there is the e.l.f. side. Now we're gonna go in with the other foundation brush and we're gonna blend out this side. So actually the Tarte one kind of matches my skin tone a little bit better. The finish and the coverage are really, really similar, if not the same. And they're both creamy, so I really don't feel like I have like crepe face like underneath at all. And now I'm just going to spray with a setting spray. But if you guys do want like a dupe for the MAC Fix Plus, this is just, again, this is a mosh of like setting sprays that I put in this bottle because I love it. I definitely believe that the Maybelline Lasting Fix setting spray is a direct dupe for the MAC Fix Plus. It is so beautiful. Then let's just set my under eyes real quick. I don't have a dupe high-end versus low-end setting powder, so we're just using my OG Maybelline Fit Me powder, and this is going on both sides. I look very like washed out right now. So let's move on to bronzer. For the high-end side, I'm going to put the Nars Orgasm bronzer. What shade is this? Laguna. This is the Nars Laguna bronzer. And on the drugstore side, we're going to be using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Now, I was like literally swatch comparing these and they are so similar, and that's why I chose them today, because they are incredibly similar. And they have that sheen, they have that warm tone to them. So for the high-end side, I am going to be using my Alter Ego number 2 brush, and we're going to apply this to the high-end bougie side of my face. Now the colors are a little bit off. I feel like the Orgasm one is just a little bit darker than the Physicians Formula one, but overall the way that they sheer out and the way that they have this like luminescent sheen to them, I really feel like one is a dupe for the other. And I have heard that the Physicians Formula is actually a dupe for a MAC bronzer. I don't have that MAC bronzer, but like I said, when I was going through my entire collection and I was looking at all these products, I was like, that's really similar to the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. So this is my butter bronzer. We're going to be using, I have this brush, it's from Billion Dollar Brushes. It's got a domed top just like the Alter Ego one. So it's really, really similar. And we're just gonna warm up the face with this brush here. And I am choosing similar brushes. I don't have exactly the same brushes, but I'm trying to choose like similar ones so you guys can see like the same effect that they have. And then I am going to be anywhere that like the product meets in the middle of my face, we're just gonna kind of like blend it all together. So that's an accurate depiction, but that looks so pretty. And you can't even tell the difference between the two. Can you tell the difference between the two? Leave me a comment, because right now I cannot. Both are very like smooth on the skin. Now again, Physicians Formula is like my OG go-to bronzer, but it's really similar to this Laguna bronzer from Nars. Both sides of my face look so good. Okay, so those are the bronzer dupes. Oh, here we go. We have Nars on this side, Laguna, and then we have Physicians Formula. This is just the shade bronzer, just so you guys know. And we also have another Nars product for the blush. I chose the Orgasm X blush, and I actually talked about this in a blushes under $10, how this other blush is a dupe for the Orgasm blush. This is Orgasm XO. It's not the original Orgasm blush, but that dupe is this is the Maybelline Fit Me blush. I believe the shade is Rose. It's number 30. This is your dupe for the Orgasm X blush. One looks a little bit more orange in pan and one looks a little bit more pink, but when I swatched them, I was like, oh, that's really similar. For the brushes, sorry, I don't have any ones that like dupe each other, but I think these are pretty similar in the way that they're very flexible, so they won't, it'll still put the blush on pretty much the same. But for the Orgasm blush, we're going to be using my Sigma. This is the Sigma Soft Blend, and this came in my Warm Wishes collection, like Christmas collection. It's a very bright, peachy toned blush. This one has just a little bit of an orange sheen to it, but it's more matte than the original formula. And then for the Maybelline Fit Me side, we're going to be using the Alter Ego number 3. This is an angled brush, but I feel like it's going to give me a very similar look. So again, this is the Rose shade from the Fit Me line. And as you can see, like when you actually just like apply this to your face, there is no difference. Even though in pan it looks like the Orgasm blush is a little bit more orange toned, it definitely, it's not. So this dupe I just discovered as well. So for the high-end highlight side, we're going to be using a Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is the highlighter in Iced. Gorgeous, gorgeous shade. It's like a champagne. And then for the Drugstore side, this is actually an indie brand. And this is from Lorella Cosmetics. This is the shade Starling. So let's hold these up together so you can see. They're like a goldeny champagne undertone. And when I swatched them, guys, like it was so similar. It was ridiculous. So we're going to use, for this side of my face, I have this is actually from the Dragon Fruit collection. It's the highlight brush from Cleona Cosmetics. Like, look how stunning that is. Like, that is, wow. Very like striking. The packaging on this is like so good too. It actually does remind me of like the bulky Jaclyn highlight packaging, but it doesn't texturize at all. It's a very beautiful formula. Again, that's the shade Starling. And then the Jaclyn highlight, we're gonna use, this is my Luxie tapered highlighting brush. This one's actually one of my like favorites, but let's put Jaclyn on this side. Can you tell a difference? Cause like, I can't. I can't tell a difference between the two of these. These are so, both of these are stunning. They can be diffused out, like if I were to take my powder brush and just kind of like diffuse it out a little bit more, or we could just leave it like a streak on my face. So if that's not a dupe, then I don't know what is. Because that is so stunning. Now, before we move on to the eyes, we're gonna do the lips. I did a full video of this dupe. It's for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I also mentioned this dupe in my under $10 from the drugstore. It's actually a new dupe, but kind of an old dupe too. So I did do a dupe of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liner and lipstick. I will link that for you, but this is kind of like a new one. So the one in that video is a good dupe, but I actually found a better one. I'm so shocked at how good this is in that video. And then, you know, this is the dupe. So we have obviously Charlotte Tilbury. This is the lip liner in Pillow Talk. And for the dupe, we have the Essence Cosmetics Soft Contouring Lip Liner in Big Proposal. These are the exact same shade. So let's just put Big Proposal on my drugstore side, and then we'll put Charlotte on the high-end side, and then we'll get into the lipstick color, because it's just, this is an even better dupe than that video. Can you tell a difference? Because I can't. Can you? Because I can't. So there's the lip liner. That one may not be a shock to you because I have done a video on my channel. Again, go check that one out. Here come the lips, the actual lipstick, because this one has been really hard for me to find. There have been some other like proposed dupes out there from Milani. This one is a more affordable option than Milani, and it is an exact dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. So here it is, my little teeny tiny bullet lipstick. I got this actually in a gift set last year from Sephora for $25. They actually have it again this year. So we have here the swatch of the Charlotte Tilbury. So this is the Wet n Wild Bare It All. It's the Mega Last Matte like bullet lipstick. Bare It All is the shade. There's the shade Bare It All. Can you guys tell which one is which? Okay, so let's put Bare It All on. So this is a very matte shade. It is not a glossy lip gloss at all. It's not glossy. It is not a satin lipstick at all. It is a true matte lipstick. Holy crow. And on my lips, they feel exactly the same. Like exactly the same. Like the same like nourishment, the same like matte feel. Like these look exactly the same. Like, wow, that is amazing. Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk dupe. I think it's one of the best ones. Super affordable. That whole dupe, I think the lip liner and the lipstick together is under $10. Next comes a dupe that I've also featured on my channel before. I do have a full like duped series, so I will also link the playlist for you. But that duped series, I have done a comparison of the Natasha Denona Mini Nude, which is this one right here. This retails for $25. It is a very neutral color story. And I compared it to e.l.f. This is their bite-size shadow. This is 4 shades. The Natasha Denona is 5 shades. However, there are very similar shades in here. Now, there are some comparable differences, but overall, I believe you can get the same look with it. The bite-size eyeshadow palette is right now $3. Natasha Denona is $25. $3. Let's just do a couple swatch comparisons for you. The first one is this shade I'm gonna swatch for you, just so you guys can like really see like how similar these are and how comparable the formulas are. So the e.l.f. one is very creamy, very metallic. Now we're gonna use the Natasha Denona. This is that same variant of shade, and look at that. I would say that the Natasha Denona has a little bit more of like a goldeny undertone. It's not so like icy, but it definitely looks the same. And then we also have a bronze shade down here. So we'll do Natasha Denona. There's Natasha right there for you. And then in the bite-size eyeshadow palette, we have this shade right here. Look at that. That's just so similar. Like that literally is the same shade. There is no variation, there is no difference. The quality is exactly the same. Like, look at that. Wow. That's crazy. This one does have 2 matte shades in it. We have a dark brown. We have a dark brown shade. This would be really similar to the Natasha Denona dark matte shade in the Mini Nudes palette. So there are the 2 together. Now the Natasha Denona is actually a little bit more warm toned, whereas the e.l.f. is a very like cool tone. You guys can see there. But like I said, overall, like you can get a really similar look. If anything, you might be able to darken up your eyeshadow look a little bit better with the e.l.f. than you could with the Natasha Denona. And we're gonna take the e.l.f. shade. This one is actually more creamy looking, and it's definitely lighter. Like you can definitely tell that there's a difference between the 2 here. Like here's e.l.f., here's Natasha Denona. The mattes, consistency wise, are really similar, but overall, like this is totally, these are not shade for shade dupes. Like I said, you can get a really similar eyeshadow look with both of these. So let's just play for a minute. So I'm going to do the Natasha Denona side first. I am going to be using a shadow switching pan so that I can use the same brushes but show you how they perform with the same brushes. I'm going to take this shade here, the light matte shade. This is a Sigma Tapered Blending E40. I almost put this on the wrong eye. And we actually need to tap out my lids just a little bit. The bougie side. Then we're going to take the matte shade from the e.l.f. side. And these obviously are not going to match at all, but we're looking at consistency as well. So like what they feel like on the eye. Right now I feel like they're both performing exactly like very similarly, if not the same. So I'm going to clean this brush off. Now we're going to take, I have an Alter Ego number 7, and we're going to take the dark brown shade in the mini. We're just going to do the outer corner here. Okay, let's clean this off. And now let's use the dark shade in the e.l.f. one. Now one is more warm toned, one is more cool toned, but like I said, I think you can get a really similar eyeshadow look, and I'm wondering if you will be able to tell which side is high-end and which side is drugstore. Okay, let's move on to the foiled shades, and we're going to be applying them with a finger. So on the middle portion of my lid, we're going to be using the like goldeny brown shade, the bronze shade. Just gonna pat this on the center of my lid, and I will be using a brush to just kind of like blend it out, but we're just kind of like tapping it on for now. And then on the inner corner we're going to use the cream shade. Like this is the definition of like holiday makeup because it is so like neutral. So I'm gonna take that E40 from Sigma, and we're just going to blend these shades together. Okay, now the bougie side. I'm gonna use, again, the cream on the inner corner. And then we're gonna use the bronze shade, and this is going to be on the lid, like the very center of the lid. I think the only thing I'm really noticing a difference in is that the Natasha Denona foils are a little bit more pigmented on my eye. So I'm going to try and match that. Bougie side, drugstore side. Can you tell a difference between the two of these right now? I'm just going to finish off the eyebrows and the lashes because I don't have any dupe for those because, okay. So mascara is on, makeup is done. Here we have a full face of makeup dupes that nobody talks about. These are dupes that nobody has mentioned ever in the beauty space, but I think they're really good. Like, I really can't tell the difference in my makeup. Like, I am comfortable going out in public looking like this because you can't tell that these are different products on my face, like split from side to side. Let me know what you guys think of my full face of dupes that nobody talks about. Do you think that these are dupes for one another? Do you have any other recommendations for dupes for some of these products? Just leave me a comment down below. I hope you guys like this video. If you want to see more duped content, go check out my duped playlist, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. Bye!